They don't trust, they don't take cash, they don't take personal checks, and it has to be filed by a citizen or a green card holder in America, so it cannot be just by anybody.
So, first, how much was that bond? How much is that bond?
It's 4,500.
Okay, and what were your arguments in court today to get that bond?
That's why we went to jail for 3 days in a row to visit them. Some of them are very young, some of them are older, some of them have families, some of them don't. So you really need to look at each case and look at the new executive orders by the president, because each president have their own executive orders. Like when President Obama was here, they have priorities. You take care of older people, you take care of younger people, you have young children, you have autistic and Down syndrome children. Those are easier, a lower bond. We used to have a judge in Ohio that they finally promoted him. I think now he retired or give 50,000 bond. I mean, these are foreign people. They don't have this kind of money. So it's like a self-deport, 25,000. So really, each case is very different. That's why you really need to know your own cases. In our circumstances, we are lucky because out of the 6 there, 5 really have no prior order of removal, no criminal record, just came to America. So I was lucky with my clients. But some clients, it's a little bit more difficult to obtain. But I want to thank you. That's why I want to talk to you, because without your support, without your talking, putting the pressure on, it's like Cleveland family is getting together for something. Normally we're we divide in our talks, but in this case, it seemed like we're getting a lot of support, and I want to thank you.
What one of the 6 you did not get bond for one of the 6?
Yes, we actually request. Right, we withdraw the bond request because this person have a prior order of removal, but we are fighting to hopefully get him out.
Is he facing other charges then? Like
He-
criminal charges? Or?
No, right?
No
criminal.
criminal
No criminal. Yeah, no criminal. Absolutely no criminal.
So, so I want to go back to the ICE, I'll just call it a raid, on the restaurant. Why were these people, they weren't the people they were after on that occasion. Why were these people detained?
They do that. It happened actually for years, not so much under the old Trump, but under young Trump, it happened. Under Obama, it happens all the time. It's like suddenly a construction company, a restaurant tomorrow had, people just scared, and then they called their neighbors, everybody ran. But those were the days when people don't report they ran. But once Homeland Security came in, now Homeland Security is tough. So really there's no more place. So I think and I'm glad you raised this question, most now with Homeland Security, it's not like before, because before Homeland Security came in February 2002, we normally don't take that much fingerprints, and fingerprints are handled by the FBI people. Now fingerprints are more with the Homeland people now. So it's just, we always advise people don't run, because anytime you run, once they catch you, it gets worse. So now people, and the public perception is, a lot of these people have criminal records. Most of them don't, actually. And a lot of times, if you ask them, were you ever arrested? For them, it's no, even though they may have an insurance crime or something in Romania, in Czechoslovakia. Because for them, arrest means detained. But in a lot of countries, they ask you questions, or if they have international crimes, they ask the local FBI to ask them to help them. But in their eyes, this is not an arrest. But in American law, criminal law, it is an arrest. And also in American immigration law, that's why we always ask them, were you ever stopped at the border? We don't ask them, were you arrested at the border? And we don't ask them, did you volunteer at the border? Because it's all fingerprinted. Anytime there's a fingerprint in American law, is called an arrest. And that's why people don't know. They say, I volunteered at the border, I filed for asylum, I'm okay. They're not okay.
They were taken into custody, why? I mean...
No reason.
No reason. They are undocumented, though.
Correct.
Okay. I know some of our viewers, when we air this, are they gonna write back and say that makes them illegal?
Correct.
Okay.
But what is illegal? Is it, for example, I'm a Catholic, right? So the priest in my younger days would always say, oh, you're going to go to hell. Does it make you illegal? Same with human beings. And I know I'm getting into philosophical, philosophies, but what is illegal? Is that piece of paper that allow you to stay, allow you to work? But you're right, they are illegal.
What are the ages of these individuals?
18 to about 35.
We haven't gotten names of any of these people yet. Is there a reason you guys are keeping the names quiet, or could we know the names of those who are arrested?
It's better we don't mention names because I think they're shocked, but if I have permission, I would prefer not to give names
What
if
is
I
the reason
could.
for that?
What's the reason we don't want to give people names?
Client confidentiality at this point.
Client confidentiality.
Once
It's
they-
just common sense.
Yeah, once they allow it, we probably could, for this purpose at least.
These are the young legal beagles. I'm just a has-been yesterday, but yeah, old hands, yeah. And you're right, why don't, we never give names. It's just not right, I guess. But good question. I never thought of it, no problem. But if you really want to get old records, you need an A number. Names are not gonna help you. No, it's okay. I'll teach you how to get records one day. Yeah. No problem. I'm just being funny, off the record. Yeah.
There was a question.
Yeah.
Where were the 6 from?
Mexico.
And they are continuing right now to, I know you wanted to use the word location. I know, nationally, we're talking about deportation. They're continuing to resist that. So
They-
what happens now? For these 5 who were bonded out today, what happens now?
The charging documents were issued, which is the NTA, the notice to appear. That's just like a charging document, like for example, I was drunk when I was driving, they give you a ticket. So the charging document was issued only 2 or 3 days ago. That's another reason why it's weird that they were arrested. Normally, you have a charging document, they don't show up to court, then you arrest them. In this case, they were not even issued with people can look at me and think I'm undocumented or illegal, correct? Because I look different. So NTA was issued 1 or 2 days ago, and now we'll be pursuing the case in court.
And that process, how long of a process is that before they might be relocated or the courts might?
Wait,
Consider
don't
something
jinx
else.
me, don't jinx me, relocated where? They belong to Cleveland, it's our city, it's our state. That's okay. So are you implying that we'll
No,
lose?
I know when we talked this morning.
Don't jinx me.
you-
Yeah,
you know,
I'm just being funny. Yeah.
This process, with
Yeah.
them being undocumented, the reason I would think that they were detained is because they were undocumented, and so with what's happening across the country right now with ICE and these
Mm-hmm.
detentions and the raids and the deportations and everything like that, they are in the system now. They have hearings. What is that process? Maybe, I don't know, get.
Would you like me to-
Go ahead, first of all, what is your name?
My name is Amid Kolab.
Spell all that for me, please.
My last name is Kollab. Amid is my first name, Ameed.
Thanks, and you're an attorney with.
I am an attorney here, yes.
So what is the process from here?
So at this point now, they've been released on bond, as we've explained. They'll continue on in the immigration courts. They'll be set for hearings in front of the immigration judges. At that time, each of our clients will have an opportunity to seek a form of relief, whether that be through asylum or anything else that's applicable to each of our clients. We'll take the time to examine their cases and find the best suitable approach for them.
We think that the immigration courts are pretty busy right now. How does that impact these hearings, or scheduling a hearing, or having a hearing?
So that's pretty true. They are very, very busy right now. Lots of hearings are being scheduled months out from now. These cases, they usually don't take a very quick timeline. They usually have a lengthy processing time. And unfortunately, like you said, because of the volume of cases in the immigration courts, people will be kind of waiting around for a long time before their cases even go in front of an immigration judge.
And for ICE and for the federal government at this point, when I talked to Margaret this morning, but maybe you can talk about this, is that the, right now, it's those who have, who have committed a crime, or those who have prior deportation orders. Those are the ones who are being addressed immediately, is that right? The rest of them, like these 5, will play out their cases in court.
Right. So with the understanding that we have, there are priorities set for people with prior deportation orders, people with criminal offenses who will be held in jail. Their cases will come forward and go in front of immigration judges at a sooner time rather than others.
Are the 5, are they able to return back to work?
So at this point now, they will be released on their bonds. They'll be free to move around as is any other person. They will be seeking relief, which then would allow them to go and possibly get a work permit so that they could work.
Do you know how they were able to work in the States if they came in illegally?
What's the question?
How are they able to work at their job if they came in illegally?
Just like anybody who gets a job, they get a job and they go to work.
Will the owner of that restaurant face any sort of repercussions for hiring people who are undocumented?
We don't know yet. But we have to remember a lot of times when people really want to help people out, for example, I see someone I really like, and I would say, oh, and they say, oh, I really need to work, or you see like 30 or 40 people in a corner, very cold, and they say, we just need a day's work. I mean, I know I cannot hire them, so sometimes I give them some money, but people don't want just money. They want to really earn and work, and that's why most of us, that's one of the reasons why most of us come to America. So I just want the public to think about, instead of worrying about, oh, what this, what that, sometimes you just have to do some work of God or something to help people. There's always something bigger than us. We are here, we are warm, it's so cold out there. We have a car, like this morning, I was late to court. I asked one of our people to give me a ride. I said, oh, I owe you. But these people that don't have rides, they have nowhere to go. I mean, if you hear their story, it's really sad. I mean, I can tell you stories because that's why both of us went to jail, at least for 3 days, because one of those people, both their parents died, raised by a lot of these, especially women or even some men, they were abused. Some of them are same-sex, and it's really bad out there. I mean, Mexico is not what you and I think that we can go on vacation. I mean, a lot. That's why sometimes I would love for them to talk, but everybody's scared. I can't even get citizens to talk, not to say, and some of you and I have talked and I have asked. People are just scared. If you notice, all the Hispanic markets and people are losing businesses in state of Ohio in America. And the sad thing is the New York City, Chicago, all these more democratic cities and states, that's really, and you should hear my calls. I mean, I have like 40 people on my list just for today, and I have to run to court with Mr. Amit to work together on the case. It's just, and then you tell yourself you can only help the 5 or the 6, we're still working on. We have other cases and we have Venezuelans, as you know, President Trump just terminated their TPS. They only have 60 days left, and because they had no money, some of them never filed different relief. They just figure, granted, some Venezuelans that were really sent by the president because of politics to come to New York and hurt people and stuff. Rumor is that they give anybody $5,000 to come to America and then to get all the Venezuelans' bad reputation, and now we're playing into it. I get these calls now from Venezuelans. They normally don't call lawyers. Sudan, because they have TPS, they don't call lawyers. They have that temporary protection. Afghanistan's, they were, and I got some. I mean, you'd be amazed. I would love for this Afghanistan to talk to you because he has so many beautiful jewelries. I mean, whoa, his jewelries, and then his parents own mines in Afghanistan, and now with the Taliban, they're trying to control all these mines because they can get tax from it. So I can tell you story after story. So whatever the public think, oh, these people are just coming for jobs. Of course, I mean, money controls, you know. I mean, the richest person is running the White House. I mean, we know that. But the problem is a lot of these people, they do have a story. I mean, that's why both of us love our jobs. And that's why I need a young one with me, because after a while you get so emotionally involved that you said, but Margaret, you're a lawyer, you have to work with the law. You can't just say, hey, Your Honor, you know, trust me, they won't run. You can't do that. But we are also lucky because we have, at least today, the judge is very nice.
How
So
long
that
have
was
they been
nice.
in the country?
These people, 2 to 3 or 5 years, and some of them, they came and they left because the country condition is getting better back home, and they save up enough money to go back, and then now the country condition is getting worse and they came back.
And then the one who was not released, you mentioned there was an order.
Right, there was a prior order.
And what would be the reason for that? Is that because that person had been stopped before, or?
There's a
like,
lot of
ran
reasons.
away
For
from it?
example, they didn't go to, it's what we call an absentia. In the olden days, a lot of people, they just don't show up. And also, mind you, it is not the fault of anybody. It's when we talk to them, a lot of American officers, they don't speak the language. So if they speak Portuguese, sometimes they use Spanish. And it's only until a few years ago I noticed people from Brazil, they speak Portuguese. We always think they speak Spanish, they speak Portuguese, so they don't understand because they are like this. They think, you guys Spanish. It's just like us Chinese, right? The Singaporeans think Chinese no good, and we think, oh, Singapore no good. It's a split of Malay. We have so much fun doing our job. Like it's just like maybe I'm a racist, I'm not, but it's like a lot of Haitians don't like Dominicans don't like Haitian. I mean, it's just hey, Haitian, you know. So we all have our problems. So in jail, same thing. A lot of people didn't. Now they know, but years and years ago, they don't know that Spanish people, they speak Portuguese, they don't speak Spanish. So if the translation is provided in Spanish, they didn't know they have to go to jail. So these are things that I wish the media or even the judges know, because a lot of young judges are coming up. They really didn't know 10 years ago what happened, 20 years ago what happened, 30 years ago what happened. It's generational.
Margaret, or.
Mr. Abid, yeah.
Or whoever.
Yeah.
So, of all of these people, these people who continue to come to your office, I would imagine, and I know you talked before, some of them or even have the papers, the American citizens, but how would you describe the atmosphere out there? Are they worried? Are they concerned? How would you describe the atmosphere out there that's drawing these people to come to see a lawyer?
So, from the clients that I've been dealing with, I think the general atmosphere is people are scared. People are concerned about this new change and this new wave of movement that we're seeing from the government. I think people are looking for help. They want to come see us and other attorneys and seek, whatever protections that we can provide them with. And obviously, we do the best that we can here with whatever tools we have available. And, we want people to feel like, hey, you can come talk to us and we'll do what we can to keep you safe, but obviously understanding that, there are certain circumstances where, sometimes it's unavoidable. Having to deal with the government is not always easy.
We had heard that ICE initially went to the restaurant looking for a specific person with a criminal record. Can you talk about that? Is that right?
So our understanding is that ICE showed up at the restaurant and was demanding the presence of a certain person. He's not our client. We don't know much about him, and that that person was not apprehended according to what we know, but we haven't been made aware of any other details.
What information or paperwork was asked by the ICE agents which they detained those 6?
None.
Yeah, no.
It's so unfair.
Yeah, they were looking for a certain person, and they began detaining people in the restaurant.
And not only that, they brought them next door to a church, as if testing the President Trump's theory of churches is Because I guess there's no space in the restaurant. There were guests in the restaurants, there were customers in the restaurant. They just went next door to sat on a pew. And as of today, I don't know. We don't know the name of that person they were searching. We don't know if there's such a real person because they didn't show any papers. They actually came through the back of the door searching for one person. 6 cars showed. That's what we heard. We don't like as Ami said. We don't know, but we heard there were 6 cars coming up, 2 in the front of the restaurant, 4 at the back. They just march in and say, "Do you know this person?" They say no, and then in fact, I've heard the rumor that they even said, "Come with me. Let me ask you some questions. We are not going to detain you or put you in jail." And of course, all these people went to jail.
Any idea why they were targeted in particular, why they were those 6?
They just saw someone that's different color.
And started
That's
asking,
what we
and started
think.
demanding papers.
Did
And-
they even
and if-
demand
And if somebody
papers?
couldn't produce a paper, then they were detained, is that right?
I don't even think they asked. for
My understanding is that they began detaining everyone in the restaurant. Anyone who was in the restaurant that they were, I don't want to say suspicious, but maybe anyone in the restaurant that was there at the time, in their pursuit of this person that they had claimed to be looking for, they just began detaining people in the restaurant.
Does
But
that
I
mean they had a
don't-
warrant when they went there?
But I don't know warrant, but I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but there was no warrant. But I don't want you to think ICE is not, I mean, ICE is mean, they're not mean. They're doing their jobs just like we are. You know, when we tell you stuff, it doesn't mean, I mean, I know these people, they're family people. To make them work on a Sunday, I sort of feel sorry for them on a Saturday. And these people, and they came at the right time where it's after lunch, it's 3 p.m. So it's like people are having a cigarette break at the back of the restaurant. I mean, it's like totally uncalled for. But on the other hand, I totally get it. They need numbers, and I heard they get bonuses when they get numbers. And, you know, it's also not good for their mental health. Can you imagine nice people? I mean, I went to jail, my heart goes out, you know, did you get hot coffee? I love a cup of hot coffee. I love a cup of hot tea. But apparently I always ask them, so can you imagine these people, and they speak Spanish probably. I don't even know if they speak Spanish, but your own people, like if I would go to a Chinese and say, "I'm going to put you in jail," I mean, they'll kill me and say, "Remember your parents, I'm going to tell your parents." I'm like, "I'm sorry," you know, so I just feel for them. But it's like both sides, we are stuck. We're the messengers. Our clients need to really stay here, make a living, get work permits. Their side is like their bosses want them. They'll lose their jobs if they don't do what, you know, already the management, a lot of them already lost their jobs. So it's difficult.
Can you give us a little bit more context? It's making all the headlines, these raids, the last couple of weeks, on full display. But there are ICE offices that have been here in Ohio for a long time. I mean, how do these couple weeks actually compare? I know it's on, it looks like bigger in the media right now, but I mean, how often does this actually happen here in Northeast Ohio? And any context you can provide on that?
Years ago, it happened. That's why you have Ola. If you want to, you need to meet. I forgot her name. She's my good friend. She's awesome. Veronica. Veronica is the one who used to really rah-rah, 400 people, 500 people show up. And those were days, but they don't usually go to lawyers like us because for them, they make enough money, they go, and then they come back. They go, they come back. So until now, because if you go, you can't come back for 10, 20 years. So Ola would know how they did it. Sheriff Brown would go to Rebecca Daducci in Detroit because we were report to Detroit. ICE in Ohio reported Detroit. But Veronica, these are old hands that help people get undeported. Yeah, for most immigration lawyers who doesn't speak the language, we didn't come in until maybe 8, 10 years ago doing this. And then they broke our hearts because there was a time we only do our own people, like the Indians, the who speak English. And for most Latino people, not just Mexicans, the Central Americans, the Cubans, the Haitians, Cuban have dry soil, so they normally don't, they have Miami lawyers who do all that. So immigration is very niche, it's very nuanced, it's very cerebral, and it's just weird. That's why you see a lot of people, men and women marrying Cuban nationals because automatically they get green cards. So anytime I see a CU green card, I say, oh my gosh, and the one who married a Cuban, they're going to check those marriages. That's really, what we do is a lot of fun, you know?
It was $4,500 per person for the bond.
Yeah.
Who paid the bond?
I have to ask them, but we come up with the money. In this kind of cases, sometimes you don't worry about money. You worry about let them out because they don't belong to jail. They're scared. I mean, can you imagine if my children goes to jail? I mean, like, what did you do wrong? You know, Yeah, but they made I mean, I don't necessarily know, but they did make a mistake for coming undocumented. Or documented and overstayed, that's a mistake.
We're all six people detained employees at Cilantro.
We don't want to comment if they're employees.
So the money.
Sorry about that.
So the money came from like a fund or something?
They'll get the money, right? They will. They better, I worked hard for that. Both of us worked hard for that. Yeah. Done? Good. And thank you, I appreciate this. We need to get the message out that people have to fight back. You know, you can't just roll over and say, I'm leaving. In fact, we have clients who say, I'm leaving, just get me voluntary departure. Then if they come back, there's no deportation.
Are you aware of any other raids that have happened in Northeast Ohio in the last
I
couple
heard
weeks?
there were other raids, but I heard they did not detain anybody. So, but we don't know, yeah.
Do you believe that other similar style raids could happen, like the one that happened in Cilantro, looking for one person?
Oh,
then
they
it's
are
multiple
raiding,
others?
but maybe they're not detaining. And even if they detain, most people, in this case, because of you, I'm the one who say, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Most people, they don't talk, they're ashamed by it. Like a lot, if you even look at, let's give you an example. I represented the prime minister of this country, that country. When they come to give speeches, and because like somewhere charged, they need a visa. So most people didn't know that. You would think, oh, there's a prime minister, there's a pope, right? They need a visa to come to America. Everybody who's foreign. And people didn't know that. They thought, oh, it's only because poor. But most of these Latino people, they're not poor. I see their tax returns. I'm trying to save you money and you make more than $1 million. I mean, you'd be amazed how much these construction workers make. This morning, I talked to someone, she's totally lost it. You know, she was so, like Mr. Amit was saying, she's so scared. And I say, hey, I feel your vibe. Because there's a book called Laws of Attraction. You all need to read it. The bad vibes comes out and you feel it, you know. So, and she said, oh, I heard if I can do $1 million investment, I can stay here. I'm like, you have $1 million? She said, yeah. I own my house free and clear, and she's from Nashville. Nashville houses are going up. And then she proceed to tell me that, I'm like, why am I saving you money? You know, I'm telling you, don't pay for this, do that, you know, do this. And I'm like, huh? We have I shouldn't say so much, but we have a lot of clients that say, Margaret, don't, and yesterday I was trying to save this client $3,000 because she's so scared. The ICE was out by the door. And I said, ask for search warrant, she's so scared. And I'm like, okay, if you really want, she called our office like 3 days. Finally, I said, okay, we'll charge you $3,000. We'll talk to ICE. And she said, okay. I said, whoa, stop. Your husband is very sick. Your husband don't have work papers. You have work papers. How are you going to get $3,000? She said, don't worry about money. And she said, oh, can you get my husband work permit? I said, sure. But I said, don't worry about it. Save the money, because then he came and leave the house. And she said, don't worry, I'll pay you. How much? I'm like, how do you guys get the money? You know, somehow. And here I'm like, for me, $3,000 is a lot of money for someone who doesn't have a search warrant, who shouldn't. She said, don't worry, Mrs. Wong, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, and then she's so relieved. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, what am I doing in my job when, you know, that's a lot of money, right? I mean, I know for a lawyer, probably not, but for some of these people, I know I go on and on. I just want you to spread the message for us, to tell people immigration lawyers are not all about money. Immigration lawyers are not all about getting more cases, getting more businesses, how many % your phone calls come up. It's just, you need to do something. There's something bigger than you and all of us together. You know? That's all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
words
you.
you can share in Spanish for Telemundo?
Sorry.
He said, do you have any words to share in Spanish for
Yes.
Telemundo?
Yes. If you get caught, number one, ask for numeral A. Get your numeral A, because I couldn't get your numeral A until 24 hours later. Ask to see their business card or their badge, because a lot of people, they know we're Latino people, Chinese people. You know, they'll say, go to the bank, get your lawyer some money, and they will have clients who does that. Number three, ask them, where are you going to keep me tonight? For example, for these clients, it took us 48 hours to find them because we couldn't find them, they couldn't call out. And number four, make sure you always have $20, $30 of cash in you. If you do get detained, put the money in the jail commissar, so you have some money to call out, and don't chance buy some warm. It used to be $2 or $3. Now I think it's $10. Buy some warm. So it has to be white. It used to be I can go to jail and bring them white t-shirts, underwears, layer them up. Otherwise it's too cold at night. But now they sell in jail. Don't chance treat yourself to a hot cup of ramen. I know we save money, but now it's not time to save. Get yourself strong, do exercise, don't give up. If you want to leave, tell them you want to leave, give you voluntary departure, no removal, because sometimes they want their numbers, you see. Be nice to the jail people, be nice to the ICE people. Don't yell and scream, don't start crying. All my Chinese clients do, and I tell them stop, because they see enough crying in their life. So A number, let him know so they can call her know where to jail. If you have sick parents, sick children, especially Down syndrome, autism, tell them, because some of them, they may release you. Tell them your lawyer's name, and also if you have a good lawyer, because sometimes you trust lawyers, and tell them they release you. You will report yourself next morning with your lawyer, and you will ask for parole or bond if they can release you. Some ICE officers still do. Atlanta ICE is becoming very nice. At one time they were the meanest. New York is never too nice, but they have to. It's a big city. Chicago used to be nice, but now I don't know. So these are little things I would always ask for release. Don't wait for your lawyer. Ask for numeral A, your A number, because without A number I can't do anything. Ask for, if you could, the name and business card of the officer. And also, if they could, if you want, don't do it. Don't immediately texting and call your wife. They would grab your phone and they won't return it. If you are nice, sometimes they let you keep your cell phone. So later on, you can text your wife, call your loved one, or call your lawyer. But don't just immediately, then they'll grab it, because they are scared like us. They're not trained like the FBI people, like the police. These are ICE people. So numeral A, where are you going to bring you tonight? Can you release me? What's your name? Are you a real officer? And be nice. And put your hands, if you're stopped, on the wheel. Don't put it in your pocket to get it. They think you're getting a gun. But the most important thing is treat them the way you want to be treated. All right? And don't give them a phony name. Don't have multiple ID. I have clients who have a New York license, a New Jersey license, because they just drive a lot. No multiple ID in your car. And read daily newspaper every day. Know American culture, and don't run. You are not in Mexico and Argentina. If you run with your back against them, they will shoot, because they are scared also. But don't run and turn around. Now they think you're going to shoot them. Because these people, they're scared like you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.